So many clients struggle with this, and conversations that I've had over the last 25 years. You know, when you get a connection or somebody DMs you, they're interested in your work, or you have a conversation and somebody's like, yeah, we should have a coffee about this. And then it either fizzles out, you never hear from them, nothing happens, nothing materializes. And yet you know that this potentially could be great. You know that what you have to offer is fantastic and could be exactly what they need. For the last 25 years, most of my work has come from meeting people, being in conversation, having a cup of tea with somebody seeing me in action and saying, hi, do you do this? Yeah, I'd really like to look at X, Y, and Z. Or they've opened up an email and sent me an email to say, could we have a chat about this next thing? I did not know how to do this for a long time in my business. And I'm not saying long time as in percentage wise of my business, but it felt like the early stages of my business were a real grind. And I made a lot of mistakes, and I gave so much away for free, and I didn't really make much money for a long time. And I want to shortcut that process for you today, because 25 years I trained as an actor, and I knew how that process was going to work. So I would be called in by my agent, and then I would go in and do the audition or the casting or the tape, and then I might get a recall, and then after the recall I might be penciled or heavy penciled or lightly penciled, all of that jargon that they use, and then finally an offer might come through. Great, fantastic, lovely stuff. But when it came to selling me as a person and monetizing my skill set, that's when it felt a little bit more scary or unknown, especially with something like coaching or speaking, or I could help you with X, Y, and Z. It all is a little bit trial and error, because it's not like, you know, saying, all right, I'm going to paint your wall purple for you. This is how much paint I need. This is how much, I'm not going to paint it purple, by the way. But this is how much paint I need. This is how much time it's going to take. And this is what you're paying me for my expertise. And this is how it's going to work. It's a flat fee in this way. With something like coaching, or you'll have your own version of this. I think many of us are or have been figuring out how to monetize this, how to charge well. I want to give you 4 things today that you can do if you want to take the let's have a chat, or you are having a chat, a Zoom call, into actually sealing the deal or making a sale. Again, as I'm saying those words, sealing the deal or making a sale or closing or converting or any of those things, you immediately might have an emotional response to those things. I want you first and foremost to recognize that emotional response. And secondly, replace it with something that feels good. Now, for me saying, yeah, I converted 10 discovery calls this week might feel a bit icky to me. It might feel like, that's not really how I like to talk in business. But if I said, I'm going to help 10 people to build their personal brand plan first on a life first business model this week, that feels different. That feels exciting. That feels like I'm being useful and I'm not just taking, I'm giving. So really look at your language around that. Number 1, you have to have a process with these things. And the amount of people that I have been on a call with that, let me say this in a lovely way. They are not prepared for the situation. And they're not prepared for me either. And I'm not saying I'm a scary Cruella de Vil type person, but there have been opportunities where I've done a favor for somebody, and there's been that moment of like, can you just have a quick chat? And they don't come with anything. They just kind of turn up in their dressing gown. They're like, cool, just like tell me about your business then. And I always think, well, this call is about you. What do you need? What do you want? And so understanding what that process is for yourself before you get on a call, maybe it's managing expectations, maybe it's setting an agenda, maybe it's giving 3 points of how this is going to roll. That is really, really crucial, because otherwise a casual chat or a coffee could be a 10-minute exchange. Or if somebody is terrible at timekeeping, you could be on there for 2 hours, and you don't want that either, because guess what? At the end of it, people might come away and go, well, that's been brilliant. I've got loads to think about today. And this used to happen to me. I've got loads to think about today. I'll get in touch at a later date, like if I want to pay for this. And I would leave the discovery call thinking, oh, okay, so that was good. Not only have I given away loads for free, but I haven't made a sale and I've lost this time now. Oh, okay, that's not really what I wanted to have. So having that process of your framework, essentially, of how you want to do this. I'm not saying that it has to be a script. I actually hate scripts for me personally, unless I'm acting. But in terms of a sales script, I don't like that. I would rather just work with people who I know already and I know who are fit. I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm not here to sell to everybody rather. I just want it to work for them. Which brings me on to the next stage. When you are having a chat, and this is not about pretending or being effervescent about the whole thing of being like, gosh, I would really love to do this. This sounds fantastic. I've never done anything like this before. The likelihood is you have, and that you're an expert and that you've worked with loads of other clients. But you don't want that person to come away and just feel like another number. I am not married, but I've heard this from brides where people go, okay, cool. So where do you want to get married? Yeah, brilliant. Okay. So when the bride comes in, you just stand there and then we do this and then we do the nibbles here and then you go here and then you have a glass of champagne, just feeling like another Saturday at 3 appointment, which of course you are. Like, we all know this. We know that stately homes are not being built for one particular wedding. But you do want that personalization. And so after your let's have a chat, I want you to think about how you can take this relationship further. And sometimes it's a case of saying, do you know what? I don't think at this time this thing is going to work. I don't think that what you're offering and where I'm up to is a match right now, but let's keep in touch. That is fine as well. But I also know that if I've got somebody who comes to me on this discovery call with 17 things that they want to do, I'm not going to sell them a £20 workshop. I mean, I could, and they might buy it. But if they want the results that they're saying that they want, there is more of an investment there. Those things are not going to be achievable within an hour. So I have to personally connect with that. Otherwise, it's lying. Otherwise, you're working on false pretenses. For example, if to go back to the painting analogy, if I wanted my whole house painted and somebody going, yeah, mate, no worries, I could do that in an hour. 2 coats, yeah, prime it, clean it, no problem. I'll get the whole thing done in an hour. I'd be thinking, I'm not sure about you. This feels like you're literally going to be like chucking it at the wall. And that doesn't feel great either. So you have to make it personal and you have to be honest in that process. Number 3, really think about how you're going to package this. And when I say package, I want you to think about the delivery and how you can do this in a way that feels really great. Last year, we had to have some chimneys removed from our roof, some other roof scenarios, and therefore we needed a scaffolding. And we got several quotes. People came round, that did that typical thing where everybody stands in the garden and they look up and they shake their head and then they write something down. And they do a bit of that as well. We met one guy and he said, I work with a company who organizes the scaffolding. And I work with another company that does all the roofing stuff. And I can arrange for those two companies to come on the same day and start on the same day. And if you're not familiar with scaffolding, it's very expensive. And therefore, I didn't want scaffolding to be up outside our house for 4 weeks, only to say, yeah, it's going to be another 6 weeks, love, before we can get the roofer guy round. I wanted it all to happen right now. And so, knowing this and knowing that it could happen on the same day, and obviously, I mean, it was still chaos, but anyway, the thought was there that the two would work together. So when the work finished, the scaffolding went down. Happy days, great stuff. I want you to think about that in terms of your packaging and really pay attention to all of the parts of it. How can you make this a seamless, glorious situation? Some people just say, I want to meet you face to face and do this in a day. Some people want to do it in a year. But if you're trying to sell the wrong thing to the wrong person, it's not going to result in a result or in a sale. Number 5, finally, I want you to think about the price. Now, I'm not saying that you should be doing all sorts of dodgy pricing that's not on your website. Of course, work with it. But when I am pricing, and maybe this is the thing that you do before the let's have a chat, you have to really think about what is going to be the exchange here. And we have to really look at the benefits of this. And this stage is about, before you try to sell your product, really spending time with it, spending that like lovely, connected, engaged, nurturing time with your product or your service, because you want to be so into it that people can feel that energy. And so with something like Speak Up, I want to, and I am committed to, providing a product that I know if you do these things, not only will you make your money back of Speak Up, the price that you pay, there is unlimited money that you can then make, because once you've done one, you can do another one and another one and another one and another one. And you can do it again and again. And I feel so confident that Speak Up is such a robust program that not only will it help you now, it will always grow with you. And it's lifetime access, so people can get really stuck in. And so I want you to think about how you can feel confident with your price. Maybe it's really understanding how great and brilliant it is. Maybe it's giving people an incentive. How can you add something more to it? Maybe you can look at doing a payment plan, for example. That will be great for you, recurring income for you, and it's a bit more manageable for somebody else. I want you to do all of that work before you get on the call and really perfect it like an art. I often think about this the first time you learn to cook a roast dinner. The first time you cook a roast dinner, you are thinking, how have these people done this for years so effortlessly? I don't know what I'm doing. And like, oh gosh, that's boiling. Or I've left and there's always some peas in the microwave or whatever it might be. After a while, when you do this again and again in your own kitchen, it becomes second nature. And if you dare leave any of those regulars off your roast dinner, your family will be like, where are the leeks? Why are you not doing leeks? Why are you not doing Yorkshire puddings this week? Why are there no carrots? Or whatever your thing is in your family on your dish. I want you to feel ready and strong and empowered to make this happen, because your business and you and your family and your friends, you deserve it. You deserve it. But unless you do that work, it's not going to have that clarity. And sometimes it might take that repetition. Sometimes it may mean booking a one-on-one session, maybe with me, and saying, I really need to work on this discovery call. I really need to figure out how I get confident with selling. There is a whole section in your digital disco, by the way, about selling and discovery calls and how to find that confidence. So if that's something that you're interested in, don't forget to come and find out more in the description box, and I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Bye.